Guys, God Valley is here. I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back who definitely did not hear it this time. God Valley is here. It's so trippy and crazy to think that we're finally getting this incident, something that we've been teased for, waiting for a very long time. All the major players are arriving, so of course, we gotta get into it. But before we do, y'all, I need y'all to do something for me. It'll be really quick. Like the video, okay? It takes literally a second. Subscribe to the channel for more anime content just like this every week. Again, hitting subscribe won't cost you that much. And share it around with all your friends who love the series. Well, make sure you subscribe to me and my boys over at CSY. We just dropped a Ben 10 short that is actually blowing up. Real quick, with Yamato's cover story, it seems like it may be the end, because you just have Yamato overlooking the flower capital in a big dramatic spread. And I hope it is, because my word, what a waste of time this has been. Now, where did we leave off at? Oh yeah, the Davy clan. So on God Valley, the Davy clan, the descendants of the legendary Davy D. Jones himself, are currently essentially being hunted and put along with the other rabbits like Kuma and Ginny and all them. We see the celestial dragons doing what they do best, being scum. Interesting though, we see Baby Teach at this point, and this is kind of a reference point for why Blackbeard is the way he is. It doesn't excuse all of Blackbeard's actions, but when you look at this scene, it's actually kind of crazy. And then in a side panel, you just have a diabolical link up because you have Garling and Saturn just conversing. I hate everything about this duo, but at this point it's revealed that, of course, the Davy clan is actually the secret thing that Garling had found. And then we cut back to Dragon. Now in the last review, I erroneously said that it looks like he was actually saving Teach, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It actually seems like he was instead saving Shanks and Shamrock, and that their mother was not killed immediately by Garling, but instead left to bleed out. So what we have now is her asking Dragon, please take care of my children. I don't want them to be turned into cold killers like he is. And then from this point on in the chapter, it can only be really described as pure genocide. We're seeing just how absolutely evil the celestial dragons are. They're literally just going around murdering anybody in sight. They don't care. People are saying, please spare my husband, spare my wife, spare my children. And they said spare is not a word in our vocabulary. Mind you, they are live streaming this event to the entirety of the Holy Land. I mean, it's a tournament for them. This is their World Cup. I ain't gonna lie, the World Cup of killing is actually diabolical. But you have people betting on which houses are gonna win. The Bavette and Manmeyer families are mentioned. But of course with Garling there, the Figurlins are in the lead. Then there's a small aside by two celestial dragons who are having a conversation. One is asking his friend, yo, who did you bet on? And the other guy says, well, House Shepherd in general for the whole clan contest. But if we're talking the solo individual, gotta be Gunko. Singling out Gunko of all people is interesting. And his friend seems to think so too, because he's like, well, that's quite the interesting choice. But you know, there's only one person that they call the God Steel of the Gods Knights. Like, this is the one person that they know that they can rely on to kill at any moment. And then you just see Saint Gunko there, part of the Manmeyer family, and she's just using her arrows to literally stab people through the heart. Now the question at this point for a lot of people is whether Gunko has actually already been taken over by Imu or not. Because we see that she has her long flowing hair the same way that she does when Imu takes over her body. And if so, is it possible that Imu descends on God Valley when everything goes to shit? And regardless of whether it is or isn't, I think there's only one thing that we can say for sure. Thank goodness that she's wearing something on her lower body. You see some of the Marines ogling at Shaki just in her cage, and it's like, ooh, I bet it must be nice to be Saint Garland, knowing that after you win this, you're gonna have a wife like her. I'm sorry, y'all. Is that not odd? And then you have the kid who's literally cowering in fear in a tree because Saint Somers is below him. Somers set up a whole field of thorns for the kid to fall into and die. And Somers is so sadistic, he's just like, hey kid, come on down. I have a nice comfortable cushion of death waiting for you. Then the dad pulls up trying to save his kid. But as we know with the way that Somers' thorn fruit works, the more you care for the person you're trying to save or help or whatever, the more damage you feel by the piercing of the thorns. And so Somers just turns away as both of them is implied to have been killed. I'm not gonna lie, this is carnage. And it's not even being isolated to just the rabbits that they're hunting, because now they're even killing off Marines. Dragon pulls up to find his entire squadron dead because he chose to defy the celestial dragons. Now, do y'all remember during Kuma's flashback when he first met Ivankov and Ginny on the outcrop? We see that moment, but through Dragon's perspective. And it's interesting to think that at this moment in time, Dragon actually met Ivankov and Kuma for the first time, though not formally. Trippy to think that that was the impetus for all that happening, and then down the line years later, those three would form up the Revolutionary Army. And then you have one of the despicable celestial scumbags pointing his Glock at them, unbeknownst to them, because he's just like, oh, I'm gonna be able to get some sweet kills off this. But that's when Dragon has enough. Mustering up all his courage, he shoots the celestial dragon in the back. And then at that moment, just as more craziness is happening, more bombs and cannon shells are going off. But this time, it's from the sea, because that's when it's revealed that the Rocks pirates have arrived. We see a beautifully amazing spread of all of them. Well, not all, because it's mentioned that some people, like Wang Ji importantly, didn't come. I mean, can you just look at this squad? Even Stroisen's there. Mind you, Stroisen has had more focus in this backstory than his entire tenure in the Whole Cake Island arc. And I just love seeing the dynamics between the Rocks pirates again, because all of them have their different reasons for what they're doing and why. Obviously, you got Barbell, Shiki, and Kyo, who are all on the I want Shiki to want me train. With Kyo and Shiki, of course, that makes sense. The Golden Lion, the Silver Axe, the rivals who always butt heads. Captain John's focus, of course, is on the treasure. Whitebeard is just like, she's my friend, so I'm here to save her off of that merit. But hey, listen, if she falls for me, listen, man, the game is the game. And yeah, Stussy just being like, what is wrong with you? I'm literally right here. Meanwhile, Glorious is just like, if I save Shaki, then Roger will like me for saving her. I ain't gonna lie, this is the level of delusional that even my homegirl can't reach. Wait, yes, she can. And then you just have Big Mom being like, you realize that she's not going up with any of y'all, right? Like, look at y'all are bums. Whole time Kaido's focus is just on the devil fruit. It's like, yo, Linlin, you're still gonna give me that devil fruit, right? So you have the Rocks crew charging in, and in the meantime, you have the announcement that from the other side, the Roger pirates have landed. And even though you have Roger, Rayleigh, and Gaban there, I'm sorry, they just don't have as much aura as the Rocks crew. First of all, look at these bums in the background. None of them matter. And then also, is that Douglas Bullet? Did Oda just make him canon? Because if he did, hey, listen, the gotcha no me on this island may go crazy. Now, as the Celestial Dragons realize that their tournament is over, Garland could some scrap. Now, as the Celestial Dragons realize the spread of all of them, you of course got Garland and Sommers there. The girl with the floofy hat from the Manmeyer family is actually a God's Knight herself, as well as the individual that we've seen before who wears a skull over his head. And then we get 3 new members. A woman who's holding some sort of double-handed sword maybe, or rapier. A really tall woman who looks like she may have some ancient giant blood in her, honestly. And then, checks notes. Cloud Demon? I'm sorry, y'all. Who the hell is that and why is he a God's Knight? And then just as things continue to get crazy, everybody's doing this fighting, you just see a cannonball being thrown and creating a huge impact as it's revealed that Garp and his fleet are here. And who is along with Garp? But Bogard. I'm not gonna lie, Oda, I'm gonna need to see what Bogard can do, because he hasn't had any speaking lines, he hasn't had any focus. It's about time. But honestly, this chapter it's just so crazy. We're literally setting up for all of these fights to take place in the next chapter. Garp's squad, the Roger pirates, the Rocks pirates, the God's Knights, everybody is here. The slaves like Ginny and Kuma and all them, Dragon is here, even Saturn is here, and who knows if the other Gorosei are here. Look at how rattled Rocks and Roger are that Garp is here. He is a true problem. And now I'm really interested in seeing how the dynamic between these 3 are. Personally, I'm giving this chapter another 9 out of 10. But y'all, what was your favorite part of the chapter? And who is in the best position to kind of win in God Valley right now? We obviously know that Rocks, something happens to him to where he disappears in the annals of history forever. But I'm not gonna lie, with the crew this ferocious, I really do wonder what exactly is gonna happen. Who's gonna betray who? Who's gonna fight who? Let me know your thoughts and more in the comments below. Now, this is the end of the review, y'all, but before we go, like it, subscribe, and share it around with all your friends who love the series, or anime and manga in general. That's gonna be all for me. I'll catch y'all in 2 weeks since it's a break week, and always remember, one piece, one life. Now, did I forget that I'm supposed to be wearing the review straw hat and only remember towards the very end of my own review? Yes. Does that take away the fact that this is what's gonna be in the thumbnail? No.